Goomy! What is up, guys? Steven here. Today we're going to be playing Super Auto Pets, and I'd like to show off a very fun, very broken strategy that I've discovered in this game. I've released it to a Discord server. A lot of people have tried it over a lot of games, and it seems like one of the most consistent ways to, one, get to 10 wins, and two, to help achievement hunt. As you can see, I've got all of the achievements for free to play, and most of those are over the last 2 days using this strategy. So we're just going to launch right in. You can see I'm just loading in from blank screen, so there's no pretense to what I'm doing here. So ultimately, the strategy in the early game is that we're attempting to get 6 fish by turn 5. Really, by the end of turn 4, we don't care if we lose these games, because turn 5 is really when we're going to try to win. And we're going to do nothing but hard roll in hopes of getting and freezing fish. And this is a great start. I mean, you can see even in my first shop, I didn't even have fish. So, it seems kind of crazy, just hard roll. But it still is working out for us. Starting on turn 3, really the only other thing that we'll take is swans. And the reason that we're willing to take swans is that it allows us to roll more. And ultimately in the future, we want our swan to be level 3, so we're going to be taking every swan that we see as well, because that lets us roll even more, which again helps for the achievement hunting aspect of this, and that you're really just giving yourself more opportunities to hard roll for things and go from there. So this is turn 4. We have our 6 fish on the board, so really just the gravy here would be if we're able to get any swans. Unfortunately we didn't, but that's still pretty okay. So we do have our 6 fish lined up here, so we're still in a pretty decent position. The other thing about fish is, you can every once in a while sneak out a draw or a win, but it doesn't really matter, because ultimately at this point you're gonna be at 4 hearts, which is completely okay, because that gives you one more loss essentially over the course of the game, but we don't really feel like we're gonna be losing too much. So we're gonna combine those into a level 2. We get a bison, which is obviously amazing and is kind of part of why this strategy is so insane. And we'll buy the deer and we'll just freeze 2 garlic. So our fish is going to start getting buffed by him. And we see a swan, so that's great. We'll take that. We'll freeze that and we'll definitely buy it next turn. So now we're in a pretty solid position. We should be able to win this round, and we do, so that's great. And realistically, we should be trying to win just every round from here on out. And really kind of the reasons that the strategy works. So think about at the beginning of the game, only the level 1s are available. So there's less stuff in the actual pool to find. So it's just more likely that you're actually going to be able to find fish. And fish is the best pet to do this with, really just because of the ability to buff as you're getting the level up. So the first tier 4 that you get isn't going to get buffed, but then you can buy it and put it in there, and then it'll benefit from the other buffs. And we got a little unlucky this time, honestly, because we didn't even end up with a swan, which would have also accumulated all these buffs. So at this point, we're just kind of gonna be greedy and try to we're gonna try to buff our bison, And I think we're completely okay with exchanging a garlic armor for that. And then skunk is just great, so we're going to keep it in the background for now. Unfortunately, we haven't really gotten any more penguins, but that's okay. It's still just doing a good job of buffing our guy. And yeah, they had skunk and all that good stuff, but we were able to get the win there. So we did actually now get another penguin, so we're just going to put those guys out separately. Another swan is great. I'd actually rather have 2 swans, so we get extra money and the ability to, again, just kind of hard roll. So obviously this is kind of a scaling build, but it's going pretty well so far. I think we win this. Yep, so we still win this. And again, like, our swan really should be like a 12-13 or whatever, kind of like our fish is, but we didn't actually end up getting that. We can now get a level 2 U, so we'll combine and get cat so we can continue to buff our bison. And we get another bison, which is just honestly great. And I think that's all we're going to do this turn. The fact that we have level 2 penguin now is great. We're getting close to getting level 2 bison as well. So it may be worthwhile to... I think we lose these, but that's okay. That's our one loss. Our melon armor got sniped by the mosquito, which is pretty unfortunate. We'll do this. And hopefully we get another bison here. It'd be kind of nice. And we get chocolate, which is basically the same thing. And we'll freeze swan. So I think so long as our melon armor doesn't get sniped here, we should be in a pretty good position. We'll get swan to level 2, so he'll start getting buffed by the penguin. So yeah, we just kind of run through their entire team with our bison there, which is obviously really great. And now the fact that swan is going to start getting buffed is kind of crazy. Honestly, like, I'm not too worried about much of anything. So I think I'm just going to throw out another bison and chocolate it. And we're just going to hard roll some more, looking for more bison, more chocolate. Didn't get any of that. Snake is obviously great. But yeah, like, at this point, we're just kind of having a fun time. And obviously there are builds that we can lose to. This guy had double snipe, which is kind of cool. He actually had triple snipe because he also had a parrot behind the dolphin. But we just kind of ran through. And if you're achievement hunting, like, at this point in the game, it's makes a lot of sense to just buy a bunch of canned foods. This is a great way to get tier 6s. And I think we're just gonna chocolate the bison. So he's level 2 now, so both bison are getting +6/+6 every turn because of the penguin as well. So that's pretty good. And at this point we can probably we're getting close to being able to transition away from fish, because it's not super useful. And if we get this bison to level 3, then we definitely can transition away, because it's level 3, so the fish doesn't need to exist. But I'm really enjoying this melon armor that we just found. I think garlic in the back at this point is kind of a waste. And there's the bison. So now we're just kind of looking for something that does well behind a big unit, so like a snake or something like that. honestly, at this point, I don't necessarily feel the need to even dump fish because it's pretty strong. This guy is a summon build, but it didn't really matter. We just kind of swept through them with our guys. We're at 8 wins, so at this point, we're just gonna be aggressive and try to set ourselves up to win in the end here. And I think that's probably the best way to do that. Cow is obviously great because it could maybe like dump Swan or something. Cow is just kind of nice to have. So we're 2 wins away, and really like pretty much at any point we could have transitioned away from the Penguin or something like that to really help our scaling. In this circumstance, I'm kind of just enjoying what we've got going on here. We're just gonna look for food and buy food just to get some buffs, and we're hopefully gonna win this last round. But we have a pretty good team for turn 15. We lose to like hedgehog stuff, but that isn't super duper common, and we end up winning. So yeah, that's the strat. This is literally the first time I've opened up the game. It's super consistent. Really, you buy fish. The Swan is the only other thing that you're willing to buy in the early game. And you buy them so that you have more slots to roll for fish, and ultimately getting the 3 tier 4s that get the buff stats on turn 5 is great. It gives you 3 chance to get a bison, with which a level 3 on turn 5 is actually insane, because it just scales faster than everything else in the game. And then even starting on turn 7, bison are available to you in the shop. You can get those, and the Swan just kind of lets you hard roll harder for those. So yeah, in the last 2 days, got pretty much all of the achievements using this method. The way I'd recommend for the creator of the game, I think it's a great game. I've played it for like 80 hours. I love it. The way that I'd kind of recommend that they alleviate this problem is just make bison a tier 5, maybe move like rhino down to tier 4. I think fish is fine as it is. The strategy works really well even if you don't get bison, just because you're getting a lot of buffs. But yeah, this is kind of how I've been playing the game for the last couple of days, just experimenting. It's crazy. I'll ask my buddies if I can post the Discord link to this game that we're using in the comments below. But if you watch this, thank you, and hope you have a good day.